Hello, everyone around the world. This is Professor Jack Dempsey. I'm an American historian living in Crete nowadays, and I am the author of a book called People of the Sea, a novel of the Promised Land. This was published in 2017, and my good friend Muhammad Ismael, who is with me this evening, read the book, and he wrote to me about it, and we've become very good friends ever since then. We've worked together to publish a number of articles about the Palestinian situation, their cause, their quest and struggle for freedom. And we had the idea that maybe people around the world would like to hear directly from Muhammad on some of the most important questions that are facing the Palestinians now in, we can only call it these days when things are more difficult perhaps than ever. So welcome, my friend Muhammad. It's great to see you and to have you here. And I wonder if you'd just like to say hello or anything else to our listeners first.
Thank you, Professor Dempsey. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay, well, I guess we'll jump right in. I would like to ask you, if you would, to tell your family's story about the days when you lived in your home village of Shaphir and how they were forced to leave their village, what year that happened, and how they arrived in Gaza, where you live today.
My ancestors were living in Shaphir, and Shaphir is a beautiful village in central Palestine, just very few distance from the coast of Mediterranean. Also, Shaphir was mentioned in the Old Testament, in the Bible, in the catastrophe of 1948. The Zionist gangs used to expel my ancestors from this village. They used to go out of Shaphir by force. They forced them to leave the village. Cannons, the fighter jets, the tanks used to shell this village in a very bad way. So my ancestors used to go out of Shaphir by violence. Too much people were killed, were injured in this operation. So they didn't leave Shaphir peacefully, but too much people were killed and injured in that time. Not only Shaphir, but we are speaking about approximately 500 villages were massacred in the catastrophe of 1948.
Yes, that is the world recognized fact that at least 500 Palestinian villages were completely wiped off the map and replaced with settlements or with farm country, anything to remove the local people. And you said that your grandfather and your grandmother had to walk from Shaphir to Gaza, which was then a place for refugees to go, so-called refugees, because they had been kicked out of their own land, and that your grandfather was, your father was born by the side of the road as your mother was walking to Gaza. No medical help, no nothing.
Yes, Shaphir was located about 35 kilometers to the north of Gaza. So the distance between Gaza and Shaphir is about 35 or 36 kilometers. In that time, they hadn't any chance to have a car, to have a truck. So they used to flee from the village on foot. They used to walk all this distance, the 35 kilometers. During the escape from Shaphir, the Israeli troops didn't give them the opportunity to walk peacefully in their way. But the French-made fighter jets used to follow them and used to shell them all the way. So also too much people were killed in the way, not only inside Shaphir before the escape, but also in the operation of escape. Too much people were killed by the air raids of the Israeli Air Force. So my grandfather, also grandmother, used to walk all this distance on their feet. My father was born in the way between Shaphir and Gaza, and he was born in a very primitive way, without any health care, without a clinic, without hospital, without anything like that. Some old women used to do this operation for my grandmother, and after my grandmother born my father, she put him inside a basket, a hay basket, and she covered him with some leaves of trees and some like pieces of clothes.
Yeah.
So it was very, very primitive way.
And the women you said, when you told me this once, they asked your mother your grandmother, what she was going to call this baby boy that had been born. And she said, I'm going to call him Jihad. Jihad means a person who struggles, right?
Yes, of course. We have the word jihad in Arabic language. Also, its equivalents, the nidal and jihad. Both of these words means the person who fight for his freedom, for his dignity. When she born my father, she was wondering what shall I name him. So her friends, the old women, directly asked her and suggested for her the name Jihad.
So the name or the idea of struggling and fighting for one's rights and freedom began right there by the side of the road, in the same time when your family had been made to leave Shaphir.
Exactly.
And that's why
Yes.
your middle name is your father's name, Jihad, because you are in the same spirit. Now,
exactly.
the Gaza territory is the largest open air prison in the world. It keeps imprisoned 2.5 million Palestinian people. Would you please explain why Israel made Gaza into a prison about 15 years ago? Why did they stop allowing Palestinians to go in and come out from there?
If you look to the map, there is a very vivid difference between West Bank and Gaza. What is this difference? Gaza is connected geographically. There is no settlements inside Gaza. On the other hand, West Bank looks like islands, some separated islands, because the Israeli settlements used to fragment the Palestinian territories in West Bank. If you want to speak about logic, there is no chance of making any Palestinian state in the West Bank in the near future. But in Gaza, the situation is different. Gaza is ready for any kind of state because Gaza is connected geographically. There is no spaces between one city and other. Also, Gaza has some borders with Egypt, with Mediterranean. The demographic power of Gaza also is a major factor. Makes Gaza a good environment for a future state, Palestinian state.
Okay.
That's why I think Israel always used to attack Gaza. They want always to weaken Gaza, to make it weak and destroyed, because they want Palestinians in Gaza haven't any chance to make their state.
What did they say? What did the Israelis say when one day or at a certain time they simply closed Gaza? They closed all the entrances, all the exits. It is surrounded by fences and barbed wire. What did they say? Why did they say they were doing this?
They say these are sanctions against Hamas because Hamas is the power in Gaza. But frankly, this is not true, because Israel is attacking Gaza even during the time of PA. PA used to govern Gaza.
The Palestinian Authority.
After Oslo Agreement, they used to govern Gaza between 1994 until 2007. Also in the time of PA and PLO, Gaza was attacked all the time by Israel. So let me tell you frankly, the real reason is not Hamas. They want to attack the area of Gaza, the demographic structure of Gaza. I think it's not true. These sanctions are against Hamas, but as I told you, they are targeting Gaza itself, not Hamas.
So what they said was, we are going to lock everybody in, 2.5 million people. We're going to lock them into the Gaza territory as part of our sanctions in our conflict with Hamas. Is that right? And I don't understand how they could think that way. In other words, it's against international law to punish all the people for the problems of a few people. And I just don't understand how they could say, okay, you will now stay forever in Gaza. Is there any kind of plan that would eventually open Gaza so that Palestinian people there could live free lives again? Do you know of any kind of plan for what is going to happen?
No, there is no plan for the future. As I told you, Hamas is not the reason. The reason is Gaza itself. They want Gaza always to be weak, to be destroyed, because whenever you have a strong Gaza and the situation is good in Gaza, directly this will make the Palestinian state something soon to be achieved. Well, as I told you, I think Hamas is not the reason, nor PA. Yeah. They want to attack Gaza itself to destroy the infrastructure of Gaza and the structure of Gaza.
So the question now then becomes survival. So could you tell people a little of how Palestinian people in Gaza receive food and other supplies of daily life? And what kinds of things are Palestinians there in Gaza not allowed to receive?
People are facing very bad hardship in securing their daily food, their daily meals. I know the normal food system for anybody in this world say that every person should have 3 meals per day. Here in Gaza, I know too much families are surviving only on 2 meals per day. Other families are surviving on 1 meal per day.
Yes, and some of the writing we have done, you told me that they used to allow 200 trucks of food and supplies to come in every day into Gaza. But when you calculate the mathematics of that, it means that about 12,500 people must be fed from one truck. It seems impossible that the Palestinians could do anything except slowly starve to death. What kinds of things are you not allowed to receive?
Too much kinds of goods. First of all, you have, if you speak about medicine, too much medicines, we are not allowed to import from outside. So we have too much kinds of medicines are missed in the market. If you speak about the raw materials for Gaza factories, too much raw materials are forbidden, because always the Israeli are saying we cannot let you import such materials because you are going to use them in producing the missiles and the explosions and making bombs, you know.
Yeah.
So too much raw materials are forbidden. Also
and
medicines.
Remember, I could not even send you a book. You said you could not even receive books.
Of course, we haven't the normal mail.
Boy, and we're talking on Zoom because Skype, for some reason, does not work there. And we don't know, I mean, you only have electricity for maybe 8 hours a day. The internet is only available really in the evening because the Hamas government offices use so much of the internet. And you are not only starving, but you are unable to rebuild all the different towns and villages and city centers that have been bombed and shelled and attacked with artillery. It seems an impossible situation for families to survive. Can you give people an idea of how Palestinian families work together to survive? And does the Hamas government provide them with any real help? How do the families work together to survive? And does Hamas provide much real help?
Yes. In addition to the hardship of food and the loss of food, we have to speak about the situation of electricity. Here we have a big crisis in the electricity. We have only 8 hours of electricity per day. So the majority of the day we haven't electricity. Can you imagine how can we survive in this situation?
No, and so that's why I ask also if Hamas, if your government there in Gaza are they very helpful to Palestinian families, or do they just take care of themselves, or what is your government like? How do people feel about it? Are they getting help?
No, unfortunately, they doesn't help people. They doesn't help any family. The situation is very, very bad, and their attitude is very, very negative, unfortunately.
So then if they don't provide any help or services to the people, what is Hamas doing? They will not allow anybody to vote for a new government. Is that correct? And they put you in jail if you criticize them.
Yes, of course, yes. Here in Gaza, we haven't liberties. There is no freedom. You cannot express your opinion freely. Too much liberties. We miss them here in Gaza. You cannot vote. You cannot express your opinion. You cannot do too much things, you know. This is one thing. If you want to speak about election, which was postponed many times in the recent years.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's not only the sin of Hamas, but also it's the sin of PA, because both of them, Hamas and PA, both of them are rejecting election to be held, and both of them are restricting election. That's why many times we had the election postponed in the recent years.
It seems difficult to imagine the situation with every detail that you share. It's impossible to get a good amount of food, medicine, electricity, clean water. It's almost doesn't exist there. The heavy rains of this winter have flooded the streets, and all kinds of toxic substances are in this water that children must walk through to get to their schools, etc. It seems as if there is not much hope right now for change or even improvement in Gaza's situation. What to you are the most important obstacles to bringing some change and some improvement to the people of Gaza? What are the things that are most in the way?
Fortunately, our crisis is in our parties, our political parties, and our two governments. Now we have two governments in this little piece of land. We have one government in West Bank led by PLO, and we have another one in Gaza led by Hamas. Unfortunately, both of them are applying a foreign agenda and regional agenda. No one of these two governments and these political parties, no one is working for the Palestinian sake, for us, for our cause. Unfortunately, all of them are working for foreign agenda. If you speak about PLO, they are working to external agenda. Even here, Hamas government is working for foreign agenda. If you want to speak frankly, this is our main crisis.
So would you say that it's a very important thing to help Palestinian people to demand that all the foreign entities, other nations and organizations would stop supporting the Palestinian Authority and Hamas? Because it seems as though Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, they could not exist politically if they are not doing anything for their people, and they will not allow elections. It seems as if they must have outside support, outside money, outside help. So would you say that it's important for people around the world to demand that their government stop supporting Hamas and the PA?
Of course, no doubt. I think all the nations around the world should boycott both of the governments, PA and Hamas. Unfortunately, they are supporting and surviving these governments to make the Palestinian separation to make it long life. They want this separation to stay along here in Palestine. They are not helping the progress to make any unity in the future. Whenever you support Hamas and PA, so you want to make this separation something normal, I think first of all they should boycott them and stop supporting and funding them.
Yes, and you mentioned that for example,
until they make a democratic election here in Palestine. So after you make the democratic free election, it's okay. We are going to support you again and fund you again. But now you should boycott both of them.
And you say that when the EU, the European Union, they send money to support the Palestinian Authority, but they do not follow and police and control the way the money is spent and who gets the money. So they may be trying to help the Palestinians, but the PA is in the way in distributing the help that comes. Is that correct?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the European Union is sending too much billions of euros annually to PA. Can you imagine here in Gaza, we doesn't take benefit from any one single euro. We doesn't take any benefit. All the benefit goes to West Bank, and not to the people of West Bank, but to some thieves, some corrupted people. They used to corrupt this money and take them to their accounts, to their bank accounts. So I think European Union should make some procedures to make sure, okay, we have to follow our money. We have to follow up our money, where our money is being paid,
Yes.
So,
yes.
I think this will get rid the corruption. But whenever you pay money and doesn't follow up where the money go, I think this is very, very catastrophic situation. And I think the European Union is responsible on this. They should ask the PA, where are you making projects? Where are you paying this money?
Yes. Yes. Now, I want to ask you also, as we both know, in the past about 1 year, 13 months, there have been 4 major human rights organizations in the world that have studied carefully the Palestine-Israeli conflict for years, and they have issued their reports over the past year or so, all of them saying, yes, the truth is, Israel is an apartheid state. I just saw this past day, today is March 12th, a news item that said that Israel is going to enforce its law that will not allow an Arab man and an Israeli woman to be married as both of them citizens. In other words, the one who is not an Israeli citizen already cannot become an Israeli citizen through their marriage. So it's more clear to the world all the time that this is definitely a racist, discriminatory apartheid state. Now we look and we see that United States and NATO countries are speaking and acting and fighting against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They say they will defend, quote, a people's right to self-determination. People have the right to choose their own future and the way they want to live. What, in your opinion, why has nothing similar to Ukraine been done to protect the Palestinians' rights? Why are they defending Ukraine but not the Palestinians, in your opinion?
The answer is simply because there is no justice, because there is prejudice in this world. You saw what happened in Ukraine. Directly, all the Western nations hurried up and used to put very, very heavy sanctions against Russia, and unfortunately, too much parts of these sanctions are against the international law. When they used to take the money of some Russian businessmen, some Russian non-governmental companies, this is against the international law. Unfortunately, they used to behave like pirates against Russia.
I saw a representative. I saw a representative in the Parliament of Ireland the other day speaking very forcefully about this question. And he was saying, look, how can we explain to anyone? It took about 5 days for them to declare and make sanctions against the Russians for what they are doing, which is, of course, a crime. but it has been 75 years and almost nothing is done. And if you say that Israel, the Zionist government in Israel, should be sanctioned or criticized, they say that you are a hater of Jews. And this is not the case. This is not true. We are criticizing a government, not a people. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly. But we are talking about more than 75 years. Before
Of
the
course.
Israeli occupation, we have the British mandate, you know.
Yeah.
So we are suffering since 1 century. We are suffering since 1 century, not
Yes,
since
and the
75.
Zionists who came to your family's home in Shaphir so many years ago, they were holding British guns. They had British artillery and weapons to say, you must get out or we are going to kill all of you. And this could not have been done without the British support.
Yeah, exactly. In that time, America was a good nation for our ancestors. If you asked my grandfather how you behave toward America, he will say to you, America is a very lovely nation, because in that time, the Israeli soldiers didn't fight using the American weapons. They used to fight against us and to kill us with the British and the French weapons. You know, at that time, America was a lovely nation in the eyes of our ancestors. You know, coming again to the comparison between what happened here and what happened in Ukraine, as I told you, unfortunately there is no justice. There is prejudice. Directly they used to put sanctions and deadly sanctions against Russia, but in the Palestinian case, no one is doing anything against the Israeli apartheid practices.
It certainly looks that way, that pretty much no one is doing anything. Now, even so, even with everything against you, Muhammad, and the Palestinian people and Gaza and the West Bank and the homes in Jerusalem that are being destroyed to make room for Jewish people from, I don't know, from Russia or something, it is so blatantly wrong that it defies belief that the world stands by and watches this. However, the United Nations declared long ago that a people who are under occupation, as the Palestinians are, have the right to resist, quote, by any means necessary to achieve their freedom. Any means necessary. They know that they're talking possibly about military or other action. What then do the Palestinians of Gaza believe when they talk quietly among themselves? What do they say they should maybe try next? Is there another form of resistance that the Palestinian people want to organize?
The Palestinians of Gaza are thinking in various kinds of resistance. Some of them are still thinking and believing in the military action and the military resistance. Other people felt annoyed from this destructive kind of resistance and started to think in something related to non-violent actions, peaceful actions, protests, marches, etc. So we have a variety of kinds of resistance. For me, as Muhammad, I believe in both. I believe in the peaceful resistance, first of all, as a first choice. After that, I believe in the military resistance, but in one case, just to make a defense, to defend our villages, our refugee camps, not to make it to be offensive or to make the attack. I don't believe in this, because you are talking about a very powerful opponent, super powerful country.
Yes.
They have nuclear weapons. They have very advanced fighters, etc. So I believe in the military resistance just for defense, just to defend our souls, not to launch attacks.
But I'm sure that people in Palestine remember the last time they tried a true, beautiful, nonviolent resistance, the march to the border. And the Israeli soldiers shot them. The doctors, the journalists, the children, people in wheelchairs, pregnant women, they were all killed or wounded, shot, arrested. And what did the world do? They watched, they were horrified, and then they forgot about it. Is there any way to do something that seems as though this time they will not look away?
That's why you have to use various kinds of resistance with Israel. You cannot use one kind of resistance. I think you know from history that Israel is a bloody country, and they have bloody armed forces. They used to confront the small boy who thrown stones with a tank and with a cannon and with a sniper.
And they put them in jail. They put them in jail for 20 years.
Yes.
And they are growing. You know, the only movement that the world can see right now is that Israel is growing more and more harsh, more and more severe. They are making the penalties very much more punishment for anybody who speaks up or who resists. And as we close our discussion for this first meeting, Muhammad, and I'm very grateful for it, what are the most important things that people of the world can do to help bring change and freedom to Palestinian people? What would you say to anybody around the world? What would you ask them to do to help?
First of all, they should punish our two governments. They should punish the PA government and Hamas government to force them to make unity. Without unity, we will still separated, weak, not strong, and we will not achieve anything against Israel. We will not make our state. You know, right now, we are trying to make state. We are fighting since many decades to make this state, and right now we achieve nothing because of our two governments. So I think world, first of all, should punish the two governments. You know, that's what by that I think we can make our unity, and we can make our state after that.
Muhammad, I want to thank you very much for talking with us tonight. I hope that we're going to do more of these. I hope that people will leave their comments, their thoughts, their ideas, their prayers, their hopes for the Palestinian people on the YouTube page where we are going to post this. And we will keep everybody informed about what we're trying to do next and how they can help. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Dempsey. And I am ready for the next meeting. Thank you so much.